NewCo, the biggest fear for me, I think, is that the women's championship clubs have obviously been given a bit of a, not the greatest of deals in this. They don't have the say on, you know, some really key critical issues, things that are going to affect them in the future as the women's games grow. And I think when you look at sort of, you know, where the championship is and the gap that is between the championship and the WSL, I think there's probably quite a lot of argument to say, well, the championship should probably be accepting a great ton more of the revenue because it needs to fill that divide.
I mean, it's a 75-25
revenue split,
isn't it? And I know what you're going to say, because I was going to say the same when Maggie Murphy came on.
Thank you.
And she argued it should be flipped on its head, because you should be kind of trying to lift all boats, right? And the idea that giving the championship more funding would suddenly have it usurp the WSL, and that's just not going to happen. So I see where you were going to go with that, and that's a it's worth going back and listening to that episode with Maggie Murphy, actually, because just more broadly, she speaks really well on the growth of the game, and it's probably quite timely with this coming in as well. But yeah, I think this kind of thing, I feel like there was always going to be some sort of conflict, and not everyone was going to be entirely happy. It's a difficult one to, you know, because then you turn around, and I'm not saying this is correct, but you turn around to some of the big clubs who are investing, and I'm doing big clubs in like inverted commas, but, you know, investing lots of money into the teams. They want that revenue back, and I agree with the idea of more of it should be going to the championship, but that's what their argument is, and I can just imagine them all around a table trying to hash this out.
Well, absolutely. When you look at sort of what Maggie was saying about, you know, the women's championship, the national leagues as well being part of this wider ecosystem, I mean, the plan, the idea and the narrative is for the national leagues, the championship, to kind of feed in this kind of homegrown talent into the WSL at stages, and also for the WSL to use the championship and national leagues to get, you know, younger players who need game experience more time to increase the competitiveness of those leagues. So I think it all does come hand in hand. So I do feel a little bit hard. I feel like the women's championship clubs have been hard done by, really. And especially when you look at, you know, the setup of the championship, that you do have these kind of independent clubs. You've obviously got Lewis, you've got Durham, you've got London City Lionesses, and you've also got the majority of those clubs either independently owned or backed by a men's championship club, like, you know, like it's a Blackburn, where they don't have that kind of level of funding. So yeah, I mean, that to me feels like a little bit of a dangerous situation for them to be in. But at the same time, if they hadn't accepted those proposals, I think chucking the championship clubs out on their arse, it as a product in itself, the women's championship, I don't think is a very attractive product, because you only have a certain amount of games on the FA Player. It's like one camera, you get like one person on comms. You don't get the kind of attendances that WSL gets. They don't have the same level of funding. The pitches are still a little bit of a mess. So I don't think as a product itself, it's going to attract those kind of big investors that I think the clubs together, the WSL and Championship together as one big product would do. So I would have been concerned.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, you're better off inside trying to make a change rather than outside trying to go it alone. And I hope, and maybe I'm being naive, but I hope that it's seen as an opportunity to really make a change and make a difference and do something different and not do the old status quo when it comes to football. And hopefully if they get a good enough deal, the championship will see some decent money. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It's definitely one to keep an eye on to see how all the chips fall.
It's that. I just feel like NewCo is a bit of a blank check. There's so many things that we can do differently in terms of the structure, the revenue, the broadcast deals, how the leagues are going to look. Even things like VAR and technology, and you know, it's just so much to do for Nikki Doucette and her band of incredibly merry board members to sort out in the next 6 months, as well as obviously the whole league going out to tender. Not quite
Robin Hood by taking from the rich and giving to the poor, though, is it? Maybe she should adopt that.